In today's class, we'll learn the relation between Young's modulus, rigidity modulus, bulk modulus, and Poisson's ratio. So by considering one of your material, okay, so we'll take this material. For example, we'll take material like a stainless steel in a form of a cube. Okay, so this is a cube. Cube means what is? How do you define cube? So if you take the cube is normally all sides are equal. Okay, so if you take the cube, then all the sides are equal. So let us assume this is a cube. So this is your y-axis, and then you have x-axis, and also you have z-axis. Okay, so x, y, z, and if I consider from here to here, the distance is x. Okay, then from here to here it is the distance is y, and from here to here the distance is z. So then if you tell it is a cube, then x equals y is equal to z. Okay, so then I will call to be more specific, I'll call it as a unit cube. Okay, so what is unit cube? So unit cube means x equals y is equal to z equals 1. Okay, or it may be 1 meter or something like that. Okay, so then it is said to be a unit cube. Unit means all sides are equal to 1. Okay, so it can be 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter, or 1 nanometer, doesn't matter. Okay, so that is the meaning of unit cube. So this is a material like it can be a stainless steel box or block, complete a solid block. So then we take this kind of material, and then what we will do is we are going to apply the forces. Okay, so let me call the force which is acting on x-axis. So that means I'll make a point on the face here, and then I'm going to pull it out, like so. This is your outward force. So I'll call this force to be P. Okay, the pressure. Then in the same way, I'm going to apply the pressure on the y-axis. So I will call it as Q. So I need to apply on both sides, positive y-axis and negative y-axis. So same thing here. So if I'm showing this P, the one which is in the front, this P is your P which is in the positive x direction, and this whatever I'm showing here, the P, so this is in the negative x direction. Okay, so this will be equal forces. So I'm going to apply equal force. So then we'll take the last one more force which is acting on your z axis, positive z and negative z axis. I will call it as R. Okay, so P, Q, R are the three forces which are acting on a unit cube. Unit cube means all sides of this cube are equal. Okay, so this is your starting one. Okay, so you will consider a unit cube. Unit cube means x equals y is equal to z is equal to 1 meter, 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter. It can be anything. Okay, so it is one unity. Unity means it is one. Okay, then this all sides are equal to 1. Then what we do is we are going to apply the outward or expansion force. So this is your expansion force. So I'm going to apply P on x-axis, Q on y-axis, and R on z-axis. Okay, so it will be on both positive and positive and negative directions. Okay, so in this case, what happens? Each of the force will act on the body, and they will contribute in either it will have the expansion or your contraction. Okay, so let us call your alpha. So alpha is the longitudinal strain per unit stress. Okay, so next we will make those assumptions. So I'll come down and then I will write here. Okay, so just okay, so I will take alpha as the longitudinal strain or lateral strain or tensile strain, okay, per unit stress. Per unit stress means the stress is also equal to 1. Okay, 1 means it is 1 Newton per meter square. Okay, so unit stress means this is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. Okay, so that is your unit stress. Okay, so then we are going to at the same time we are also going to define beta as a lateral strain. Okay, so lateral strain per unit stress. Okay, so this means whatever we are talking only with the numbers of 1. Okay, we will not take like 2 Newton per meter square or 1.5 Newton or 2.5 Newton, like that. Okay, we will take only the unity because it is 1. Okay, 1, then it will be easy for some of the derivation here. Okay, so now as we will come to this diagram, so if I want to say your bulk modulus, or if I am applying P, if I'm applying only P, that means I'm pulling this out in the P direction, sorry, in the X direction. So in that case, what will happen to the X, Y, and Z? You should tell me. Okay, so what happens to the X? So let us assume Q and R are absent. You have only P. So in that case, what will happen to your sites X, Y, and Z? Okay, so what will happen to this? So let us call this is X. X is the distance between this O point to this point. Okay, so then it is equal to 1 because it is a unit cube. Okay, in the same way, Y will be equal to 1 from this point to the other point. Okay, so then in the same way, if I take the Z, Z is also going to be equal to 1. Okay, so this is the value from this origin to the first point here in the cube. Okay, so now initially when you start, all X is equal to Y is equal to Z equals 1. Okay, so all sides are in unity. So now what I'm telling is I'm just applying only P force. P is the outward force in the positive and negative direction. Okay, so this is like similar to what happened in case of your in your Poisson's ratio. Okay, so in case of Poisson's ratio, so what will happen? There is two kinds of strain. One strain is your lateral strain. Sorry, the first strain is longitudinal strain, which is in the direction of applied force. Okay, and then there is also lateral strain, which is perpendicular to the direction of applied force. Okay, so now if you take if you take only the P force is acting, Q and R is not acting. Okay, so they are not present. This Q is equal to 0, R is equal to 0. Only in that case, what happens? P is uh, expanding the x-axis. Okay, so now if your P is acting, okay, then what happens? So I'll try to write here and then we will remove it. Okay, so this is just for your reference. If if only P is acting, okay, so then what happens? X will increase. Okay, so the length will increase because it is in the direction. Okay, so X will become maybe like 1.1 or 1.2, like that. But what will happen to Y and Z? So they are perpendicular to the axis, your X axis. So in that case, you will have lateral strain. Lateral strain means your Y and Z will decrease. Okay? So your Y and for is acting. Okay, so if only Q is acting, so in that case, what will happen to, if only Q is acting, then what happens? Q is in the in Y direction, so Y is going to increase. So let us assume P and R is absent. So in that case, Y is going to increase because you are stretching in this form, and then your X and Z is going to decrease because your they are your lateral strains. Okay, so Y increases and X and Z is going to decrease. Okay, so in the same way, if I take R, so in the case of R, what will happen is, so only if R is acting, then what will happen? Your Z is going to increase and you will have decrease in the X and your Y direction. Okay, so X and Y will going to decrease. So this is the effect of your force when they are acting individually. Individually means if only P is acting, then X is increasing, Y and Z is decreasing. Okay, and then if R is acting, then z is increasing, then x and y is decreasing. Okay, so this is your when only one, any of your any one of your force is acting. Okay, so but if all the forces are acting, so in that case what happens? So if I want to write the net elongation along the each of the axis. Okay, so let us take net elongation. Okay, or you can take the change in x-axis. Okay, so if I take in the x-axis, let me call it as delta x. So delta x is the elongation in the x-axis, then it will be alpha times p, alpha because it is longitudinal strain per unit stress into your pressure. Okay, so whatever pressure you are applying in the x direction. Okay, but this is increasing when p is acting, but at the same time your x is going to decrease. So if you go here, so if you can see here, your x is increasing when p is acting, but what happens to x in case of r? In case of r and q, x is going to decrease. So that means lateral strain. Okay, lateral means it is your beta times q minus beta times r. Okay, so this is the net elongation that is occurring in the x direction. Okay, so if I take x direction, then the length will increase when your p is acting, but the length is going to decrease when your q and r is acting. Okay, so that is why we are going to write in this this equation. Okay, in the same way, so if I want to take the your second axis, so the elongation in your y axis, so this can be written as delta y. Delta y is the increase in the length of y. So it is increasing when your q is acting, but it will decrease when your p and your r is acting. Okay, so in the same way, if I want to take the elongation that is produced in the z axis, so then what happens? I will call this as delta z. It is alpha times r because it is increasing when when your r is acting, but it is going to decrease when your p and your q is acting. Okay, so these are the equations that you are going to remember based on the what happens to length when each of these forces are acting. Okay, so your p is acting, then x is going to increase, y and z is going to decrease. If q is acting, then y is increasing and x and z is decreasing. Okay, so this is the first equation that you need to know before you go into the main derivation. Okay, so is it clear up to this? Is it clear up to this point? So you take unit cube. Unit cube means you take the all the length are equal to 1, x equals y is equal to z, and is equal to 1. Then what you do is you're going to apply the forces on all the surface. So your P is the force which is acting in x-axis, Q is the force which is acting in y-axis, and R is the force which is acting on z-axis. Okay. So then you are going to define alpha and beta. Alpha is nothing but it is a longitudinal strain per unit stress, and then beta is the lateral strain per unit stress. So longitudinal strain is always in the direction of applied force. Okay, so the first one is in the direction of applied force. Okay, in the direction of applied force, and the other one is perpendicular to the direction of, this is perpendicular to applied. Okay, in the direction which is perpendicular to the applied force. Okay, so taking that into consideration, so then what we do is if I take only P, then so that means only if only P is acting, then x is going to increase, and then y and z is going to decrease. Okay, so in the same way, if I take the q is acting in y axis, so the length of y is going to increase, but the other two lengths, which is your x and z, is going to decrease. In the same way, if r is acting, which is acting in z direction, so the length in z direction is going to increase, but the length x and y is going to decrease because this is perpendicular to the applied force. Okay, so this is about your first equation. So this will be the net elongation. Okay, so do you have any doubt up to this? You can ask me. starting point. Then what we will do, so now we have defined the what are the changes in length and changes in breadth and changes in the width. Okay, so with respect to the force which is acting. Okay, so now what we will do, we are going to take the each of the modulus and we will try to relate that with respect to the previous relations. Okay, so we will use the same old relation and then we are going to uh, find the Young's modulus, bulk modulus, and rigidity modulus. Okay, so we will take the first one. First one is your Young's modulus. So how do you define your Young's modulus? So what is Young's modulus? Young's modulus is longitudinal or lateral or tensile stress by longitudinal or strain. Okay, so this is your definition of Young's modulus. So how do you define your long-term any stress is force per unit area? Okay, by long-term strain is the change in length divided by original length. Okay, so now if you take the force per area, so that is what we call as a pressure, the pressure that we are applying, and then divided by delta x, and x equals 1. Okay, because your x equals 1 because all the sides are equal to 1, x equals y equals z equals 1. Okay, so force by area is nothing but is the pressure that you are applying, P, and then delta x is the change in length by original length. So x is equal to 1, so I'm just writing delta x. Okay, so now if you take from equation 1, okay, so in equation 1 what we will do is uh, so that for this uh, remember first equation, so you have that first equation equals, so you take this equation x equals alpha. So I will just write that one. Okay, again I will write the equation number 1 again. So okay, so from equation 1, so we have delta x equals alpha times p minus beta times q minus beta times r. Okay, so as it is a longitudinal strain, so in this case what happens is we have to consider only one of your force, and the other forces should be equal to 0, because that means only in that case you can expect the longitudinal strain. If it is not one dimensional, then it cannot be a longitudinal strain. It can be a shear strain if it is two dimensional, and if it will be if it is three dimensional, then it will be bulk strain. Okay, so here let us consider, okay, so only P is present. Okay, and then your Q and R equals 0. That means they are present. Okay, you're not going to apply the Q and R. So in that case, what will happen to your delta x is delta x will be equal to alpha times P minus 0 minus 0. Okay, so it is nothing but delta x is alpha times P. So you are going to use this equation in the first one. Okay, your y. Okay, so you put this in the equation number equation for y, which is your Young's modulus. So then what happens? Y is equal to, so you have something called as P by delta x. Okay, so this is P divided by, so this is by P divided by alpha times P. So P will cancel, so then it is 1 by alpha. Okay, so therefore you will have y is equal to 1 by alpha. Okay, so this is your next equation. So let us call it as equation number 2. Okay, so this is for your Young's modulus. So in the same way, we are going to do the same parallel things for other two modulus, which is your rigidity and also your bulk. Okay, so what I will do is I will take one more new uh, file, and then I am going to do it here. Okay, so we will try to do the first we will try to do the rigidity modulus. So So we will take rigidity modulus. So what is rigidity modulus? Rigidity modulus is nothing but n equals you have shear stress by shear strain. Okay, so shear stress by shear strain. So shear stress is again it's your force by area divided by this is theta. Theta is the angle of shear angle. So this is nothing but P divided by theta. Okay, so this is for your shear stress. So I will try to write down better maybe. So this is n equals P by theta. Okay, so but you need to remember a few things. So only one of the equation that the shear strain is related with equation it is 2 times longitudinal strain. Okay, so remember this, but now you don't have to derive this equation. You have to just remember, okay, shear strain is times shear strain. So your shear strain is theta. Theta will be 2 times delta x. Okay, so this is nothing but P is equal to n is so P divided by 2 times delta x. Okay, so that is from your previous this equation. Okay, you have to just remember this equation, then you have to substitute here. Okay, so now I need to find delta x. So delta x, how do you find delta x? Again you are going to use the equation number 1. Okay, so from 1 what you have, delta x equals alpha times p minus beta times q minus beta times r. Okay, so as it is a two-dimensional shear means it is a two-dimensional, two of the forces has to be acting. Okay, so if you remember the diagram, so you had a block. So in that block, what was there? So you used to fix one end. So this end is fixed, and then you applying the force uh, on the top surface. So there used to be change in two dimension. Okay, one is this change, and the other one is the height or the length change. Okay, so there was two-dimensional change. So in the same way, if you take your rigidity modulus, so for rigidity modulus or shear strain, you have to have at least two forces. Okay, in the first case, for long-term strain, it is one-dimensional change. So you used to keep only P and Q and R was 0. Okay, but here what we'll do? So for your shear change, shear strain, so we will consider P is equal to minus Q and R will be equal to 0 because I need only two forces. Then what I'm considering P force is equal and opposite to the Q force. Okay, P is equal to minus Q and the third force is not present. Okay, so R is equal to 0. So in this case, what will happen to your delta x? Therefore, your delta x will become, so delta x will be alpha times P minus, so beta times minus P. Okay, so it will be minus into minus, it will be plus. So I'm going to take common. Okay, so or I'll write again. Okay, alpha times P, sorry, alpha times P plus beta times P. Okay, so P is common in both the things. So delta x is P into alpha plus beta. Okay, so this is your delta x. If I take the shear two things are acting. So now we are going to substitute here in this equation. Okay, so we have to substitute for the use delta x that we got. So in this equation, so then what happens is, so therefore n equals, which is your modulus is P by 2 times delta P, sorry, delta x, which is nothing but P divided by, so I'm writing this equation here, 2 into P into alpha plus beta. Okay, so in that case what happens, therefore your n will be equal to 1 by 2 into alpha plus beta. Okay, so this is your equation or the relation for n in terms of alpha and beta, which is your long term strain and lateral strain. Okay, so I will call this as equation number 3. Okay, so this so now I got y and n in terms of alpha and beta. Okay, so in the same way I will try to express the last one, which is nothing but your bulk modulus in terms of alpha and beta. Okay, so we will do the same exercise. Okay, so this is almost similar. Okay, you don't have to worry too much because everything is almost similar to what we have doing till now. Okay, so I'll do parallel. So first thing what you do is you have to define what is bulk modulus. Okay, so we will come to this 3. So third one is your bulk modulus. Okay, so bulk modulus. What is the definition of bulk modulus? Bulk modulus is okay. Just so bulk modulus K equals bulk stress by bulk strain. Okay, so it is nothing but it is bulk stress by bulk strain. Okay, so bulk stress is nothing but it is again force by area divided by change in volume by original volume, that is your bulk strain. Okay, so change in volume I will call it as delta V, original volume is V. So in that case force per area is your pressure that you are applying, and then divided by, so because you need to apply uniform pressure, so this is the pressure, and then delta x by 1 sorry V is the volume is you need to take length into breadth into height. So length into breadth into height, all things are 1. So 1 into 1 into 1, it is still 1. Okay, so I'm just going to write delta V is equal to V because V equals 1 cube, because x equals y is equal to z equals 1. Okay, so this is about your volume. Okay, so now what you do is you again have to remember same thing, so as you did in the previous case. Okay, so there is a relation between your shear strain, longitudinal strain. So shear strain is 2 times longitudinal strain. In the same way, if you take the bulk and the longitudinal strain, bulk strain and longitudinal strain, it will be 3 times. Okay, so you have to just remember this. So bulk strain will be equal to 3 times longitudinal strain. Okay, so you don't worry how you got it, but you need to just remember this relation. Okay, so bulk strain is nothing but it is delta V. Delta V is equal to 3 times delta X. Okay, so this is almost similar to what we did here. Okay, theta is your shear angle, sorry, shear strain. Shear strain is 2 times delta X. In this case, your bulk strain, which is delta V is 3 times delta X. Okay, so this is, you need to remember this. Okay, so now again we are going to use the for the work. Okay, so next thing is we need to use the equation number 1. So I will write again from equation number 1. What we have is delta X is alpha times B P, okay, minus beta times Q minus beta times R. Okay, so now for bulk uh, or for volumetric or bulk modulus, so you need to have uniform force. Okay, uniform force should be acting. Okay, should be acting on the body. So that means your on body, so you will have P is equal to Q is equal to R. Okay, only in that case you can tell this is a bulk modulus. Okay, so is your P is equal to Q is equal to R, so that is your bulk modulus. So in that case what will happen is so now what will happen to your delta X? So now therefore I will write here, so therefore delta X will be alpha times P minus beta times P minus beta times P, because I'm substituting P is equal to Q is equal to R, Q and R is equal to P. I'm writing that. So in that case what happens, in both of this it is beta P minus beta P, so it will be 2 times beta P. So delta X is alpha P minus 2 times beta P, or I will take P common. So in that case delta X will be equal to P into alpha minus 2 beta. Okay, so this is your equation for the delta X in terms of alpha and beta. Now again use this in your first equation. Okay, so what is the first initial equation? You have to use this in this equation, P by delta V. So I'm going to write that again. So therefore, so therefore we know that K is equal to P by 3 times delta X. Okay, so is it correct? So delta V, I will take a delta V, then I will try to express this. Okay, so P by delta V. Delta V is nothing but it is 3 times delta X. Okay, so from the relation. So then what we do is from this relation of delta V is equal to 3 times delta X. So we are going to use this, and then I'm going to write P by 3 times delta X. And then from here, I'm going to substitute for delta X. Okay, so if I use this in the next equation, then what happens? P divided by 3P into alpha minus 2 times beta. Okay, so again PP would cancel, and then what you are getting is you have K equals out of space. Okay, fine. So you'll have K equals 1 by 3 into alpha minus 2 beta. Okay, so this is your equation number I don't know what we so 3, so we will call this as equation number 4. Okay, so now what we'll do is we have got 3 modulus in alpha and beta. Okay, what are the 3 modulus? 3 modulus is nothing but your Young's modulus, rigidity modulus, and bulk modulus. Okay, so bulk modulus, all the 3 we have got it in alpha and beta. Okay, so now what I will do, I will just write only these 3 equations, 3, 4, and 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so do you have any doubt up to this point? Have not, I will continue. So if you have any doubt, you ask me. If not, I will continue. Okay, is it fine up to this? So what we are doing is we are using a cube, and we are trying to express n, k, and y in terms of alpha and beta. Okay, so that is what we are doing. So for this, we have used all these equations. Okay, so up to this, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, okay, yeah, thank you. So in that case, what I will do is I will write only these 3 equations. Okay, so 2, 3, and 4. Actually, y. Okay, so I think it was in this one. Okay, so y is equal to 1 by alpha is your equation number 2. Okay, so then equation number 3 is n equals 1 by 2 into alpha plus beta, and then the last one, which is your equation number 4, is k is equal to 1 by 3 into alpha minus 2 beta. Okay, so these 3 equations, I'm going to just copy those equations in a new board. So what I will do is I will just write the equation number. Equation 2 is y is equal to 1 by alpha. Equation number 3 is equals 1 by alpha plus beta. Okay, so 2 into alpha plus beta. Okay, and the last one is your equation for equation number 4, which is nothing but is equal to 1 by 3 times alpha minus 2 beta. Okay, so these are the 3 equations that we had derived from the previous one. Okay, at the same time, you should also know the Poisson's ratio. What is the Poisson's ratio? Poisson's ratio is your Poisson's ratio beta. Sorry, your sigma is lateral stress by lateral strain, which is beta by alpha. Okay, longitudinal. Yes, Ananya, it is lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Okay, so this is a common mistake. A lot of times you do. Okay, not only you, most of you will do. So it is reverse. Okay, it is lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Okay, So at least it's good that you are very active. Okay, so that's good. So lateral strain by longitudinal strain. Okay, beta by alpha. Okay, so now what we do is we have to just have the relations. Okay, so uh, just a minute. I will just save this as E because I again need this same thing. Okay, so okay, so now I want a relation between y, k, and n. So for this, what I will do? So I need a relation between. So first one is a relation between. I need all the three Young's your moduli. Okay, so that means your Young's modulus. I need Young's modulus, yeah, rigidity modulus, and your bulk modulus. Okay, so I want a relation between all the three. So now what I will do is for this I will take the equation number 3 and 4. Okay, so these are this is your equation number 3 and equation number 4. So I will just try to rewrite it. Okay, so what I will do is I will just try to rewrite to make it little bit easy for me to do some mathematics. Okay, so what I will do, so this one I will write it as 2 alpha. So I will just cross multiply. Okay, so it is 2 times alpha plus 2 times beta is equal to 1 by n. Okay, so it was n is equal to 1 by alpha plus beta into 2. So I just rewrite it like in mathematics. Okay, so you cross multiply, so it will be 1 by n on the right hand side. Then to the left you will have alpha plus beta into 2, but I'm just multiplying it up. Okay, so 2 times alpha plus 2 times beta. Okay, so now the same thing what I will do here, I'm going to take this, I'm just going to rearrange it. So I will keep only alpha minus 2 beta and rest I will put it in the right side. Okay, so this is what I will do. Okay, so I'm going to keep only the I'm going to keep the 3k on the right hand side, and whatever is there in the bracket I'm going to take it in the left hand side. Okay, the reason I'm going to do this is I want to just do some mathematics. Okay, so what I will do now, I will to add both of them, adding above equations. Okay, so if I add these two equations, so then what happens? You're going to cancel out 2 beta plus 2 beta and minus 2 beta. So what you have is 3 alpha will be equal to, so you need to add these two things. Okay, so 1 by n plus 1 by 3k. Okay, so that is what you are going to do. So now what you do is you need to remember that equation number 2. Okay, so what is your equation number 2? Equation number 2 is y is equal to 1 by alpha, right? So you need to remember this. So in that case what happens, your left hand side. Okay, so if I just take only this left hand side, so I can write this left hand side as 3 by y. Okay, because we know that y is equal to 1 by alpha, so alpha is 1 by y. Okay, so by using this, what I am doing is 3 into alpha is nothing but 3 by y. Okay, so 3 by y is equal to, so you take the LCM in this one. So if I take the LCM in this one, it will be 3nk. So 3n, then what will happen? You will have 3k plus n, okay, numerator. So now you just simplify this. So if I want to simplify this, so then what is on, and then I will keep I'm just going to cross multiply. So cross multiply this like that, and then like this. So in that case, what happens? You have y is equal to, so this is in principle it is in right hand side. Y is equal to 9 times nk. Okay, so I did okay. So this has to go to the left hand side. Okay, so this is going to the left hand side, and this one is coming to the right hand side. Okay, so in that case what happens, 3 into nk, 3 nk into 3, so it is 9 nk, divided by, you have 3k plus n. Okay, so this is the relation that you need for your yk and n. Okay, you have a relation between yk and n. Okay, so I don't know what was the number. So let me call this Poisson's as equal to 5, equation number. Okay, then I will call this as equation number 6. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, as long as you remember which equation is what, you don't worry about the numbers. Okay, so then so y is equal to 9nk by 3n. This is your the relation between Young's modulus, rigidity modulus, and also the bulk modulus. Okay, so this is the first relation that we have derived. Okay, so now let me, what I will do is I will just open the other one. Okay, so do you have any doubt up to this? It is just you take the equation number 3 and 4 and then you do mathematics. Okay, and then you should get a relation between yn and k. Okay, so it's not that very difficult. So can I go to the next one? So I will so I will try to share these also with you, so you don't worry about so I will share all these things, whatever I'm writing. Along with that, you have already some notes, so you can also refer to that. Okay. So let me just save it as, because I need again one more time. So let me save it here. So let me take the next one. So in this case, again, I'm going to start with the same equations, equation 2 and 3. Then I will try to get the relation between your, so the second one is the relation between, so initially we did for y, n and k. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll do for y, n and sigma. Okay, sigma is your Young's modulus, sorry, your Poisson's ratio. So we will do for y, n and sigma. So for this, you just take the equation which is here, equation number 3. So you just write this equation, okay, n is equal to 1 by 2 into alpha. I'm going to take it alpha as common factor, and then 1 plus beta by alpha. Okay, so I just take this equation, and then what I will do is I will write like this. Okay, n is equal to 1 by 2 alpha plus beta by alpha. Okay, so what is 1 by alpha? 1 by alpha is y from your equation number 2, and also sigma is beta by alpha. Okay, so if I use that equation, then what happens is n is equal to y by 2 into 1 plus sigma. Okay, so uh, 1 by alpha is y, so I just wrote it as y, and then 2 times 1 plus beta by alpha is nothing but it's sigma. Okay, so that is why I'm writing like this. So then therefore if I just keep y on one side, then what happens, we'll have 2n into 1 plus sigma. This is your relation between your yn and sigma. Okay, so you can call this equation with equation number 7 or 8, whatever it is. Okay, so this is your equation that would give a relation between y, n and sigma. Okay, so these things you will be, you need those things because later on you are going to do some problems on that. Okay, so after this I will just stop after one more relation. Okay, then I think that will be too much for today. Okay, so I think we will stop after this last relation. Okay, there's one more relation, but I will try to do it on in the next class. Okay, so not right now because it will be already too much for you to digest. Okay, so I think it's okay. So again, so initially we have done for y, n, k, then we did for y sigma. So now what we will do is we will do the third one is we will do for y, n, sorry, y, k and sigma. Okay, so the relation between y, k, and sigma. So we will try to do this, and then we will do the last one in the next class. Okay, so for this you just take the equation number 4. So in the previous one, like when I wanted to do y, n, and sigma, I just took only equation number 3. So now I want y, k, and sigma. So I'm going to just take equation number 4. Okay, and do the same thing. Okay, so k is equal to 1 by what you have, 3 into alpha minus 2 beta. So that is your original equation. So now what you do, you take alpha common. So k is equal to 1 by 3 alpha into 1 minus 2 into beta by alpha. Okay, so now again using 1 by alpha is equal to y, and your beta by alpha is equal to sigma. What you get is, so 1 by y means it will be sorry, 1 by alpha means it is y. So k equals y divided by, so you have 3 times alpha is already taken care because 1 by alpha is y, 1 minus 2 times sigma. Okay, so 2, because beta by alpha is sigma. Okay, so then if I want to again keep only y on one side, then y is equal to 3k into 1 minus 2 sigma. Okay, so this is your equation or the relation between your y, k, and sigma. Okay, so we'll call this as equation number 8. Okay, so I think let me stop at this point because I think it's already too much. Okay, so then we will continue in the next class with the last relation. So the last relation is, so can you tell what is the last relation you need? Last relation.
Sir,
So
N, K, and sigma.
so n, k, and sigma. Okay, so you need this. So for this what you do is we have to use only the equation number 7 and 8. Okay, so using this you can try to get y, k, and sigma. So you try yourself. If not, we will do it again in the next class. Okay, don't worry about that. So we'll do it in the next class. Okay, so right now what we will do is okay. Okay, so I think we will stop at this point.